11 kilometers. That is how far down the Mariana Trench goes. To put that in perspective, if you dropped Mount Everest into it, it would disappear completely, and there would still be 2 kilometers of ocean left above its peak. For most of human history, we assumed nothing could survive down there. No light, no warmth, pressure so extreme it would flatten a human body like a tin can in less than a second. We were wrong. Scientists have been sending unmanned cameras into the deepest point on Earth for decades, and in almost every dive, they find something that rewrites what we thought we knew. But in the last 2 years, the discoveries have gotten stranger. Much, much stranger. What you are about to see should not exist. The Mariana Trench lies in the western Pacific Ocean, roughly 2,000 kilometers east of the Philippines. It's a crescent-shaped scar in the Earth's crust, the result of one tectonic plate grinding beneath another over millions of years. It is the deepest place on Earth. Its lowest point, called Challenger Deep, sits at approximately 10,935 meters below sea level. To reach it from the surface, you would need to descend for more than an hour in a specialized submersible, one designed to withstand pressures over 1,000 times greater than what you feel right now standing at sea level. The water temperature hovers just above freezing. No sunlight has ever reached the bottom, not once, not in 4 billion years of Earth's history. And yet, life found a way. Scientists have catalogued over 200 species in the deepest regions of the trench. Translucent snailfish darting along the seafloor, amphipods, small crustaceans swarming in the millions, ghostly sea cucumbers drifting like living fog. But none of that prepared researchers for what they found in 2023 and 2024 during back-to-back deep-sea expeditions using next-generation ROVs, remotely operated vehicles, equipped with 4K cameras and new sonar mapping technology. 3 things were discovered that, by every rule of biology and physics we currently understand, simply should not be there. The first discovery wasn't a creature, it was something far more disturbing: plastic. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, researchers found not just traces of plastic, but an entire micro-ecosystem that had grown around it. Scientists discovered over 17 different types of microplastic in sediment samples from Challenger Deep. More plastic contamination per cubic centimeter than in many surface ocean samples from heavily polluted coastlines. That alone was shocking. But what came next was something no one predicted. Certain bacteria, specifically of the genus Ideonella, had begun breaking down the plastic at the molecular level. They were eating it, not just surviving near it, actively metabolizing polyethylene terephthalate PET plastic as a food source in the dark at crushing depth in near freezing water. This has been theorized in laboratory conditions. It had never been observed naturally occurring at the deepest point on Earth. What does this mean? It could mean that evolution, under enough pressure over enough time, can adapt to almost anything, even the damage we've done. Or it could mean something more unsettling, that we contaminated the most remote place on the planet so thoroughly that life had no choice but to adapt or die. The bacteria chose to adapt. The second discovery was a living animal, and it breaks one of the most fundamental rules of deep-sea biology. In 2024, during a NOAA-affiliated expedition, cameras captured footage of what appears to be a species of deep-sea holothurian, a sea cucumber, at a depth of over 9,400 meters. Sea cucumbers are not new. We know hundreds of species. They're the vacuum cleaners of the ocean floor, slow-moving, sediment-feeding, unremarkable. But this one was approximately 1.8 meters long. That is almost 2 meters, 6 feet. The deepest sea cucumbers we'd previously documented averaged 20 to 30 centimeters. Deep sea gigantism, the phenomenon of animals growing larger at depth, is real, but it typically affects crustaceans and cephalopods, not sea cucumbers. Never sea cucumbers. But the size wasn't the strangest part. The strangest part was what it was doing. It wasn't feeding. It wasn't moving along the bottom. It was hovering vertically upright in mid-water column, approximately 4 meters above the seafloor. Sea cucumbers do not do this. They don't have the musculature for sustained vertical orientation. They don't have swim bladders. By every biological framework we have, this animal was doing something anatomically impossible. For 11 minutes and 43 seconds, the ROV camera recorded it, hovering, pulsing slowly. Then, with a single contraction of its body, it descended back to the sediment and vanished. The footage was reviewed by 4 independent marine biologists. None of them could identify the species. 2 of them stated that the hovering behavior, if confirmed, would require a reclassification of what we understand about echinoderm locomotion. A paper is currently under peer review. We do not know what it is. We do not know how it does what it does. We only know it exists. The third discovery may be the most significant of all, not because it's the most dramatic, but because of what it could mean for every ocean on Earth and beyond. In late 2023, thermal sensors aboard an ROV detected a localized plume of water with a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius rising from the deepest section of Challenger Deep. 4 degrees. That doesn't sound impressive, but at that depth, background temperature sits at just 1 to 2 degrees above freezing. A 4-degree thermal plume rising from a crack in the trench floor means one thing: geothermal activity, a hydrothermal microvent in the deepest place on Earth. Hydrothermal vents have been found before, but in shallower zones, typically around 2,000 to 4,000 meters deep. They support entire independent ecosystems, tube worms, blind shrimp, chemosynthetic bacteria that generate energy not from sunlight, but from chemical reactions in the superheated water. The discovery of a potential microvent at 11,000 meters raises a question that scientists are now actively investigating. Could there be life, even more life, thriving in the absolute deepest cracks and fissures of the ocean floor? Life that has never been catalogued? Life that has been sealed off from the rest of the planet for millions of years? And then the second question, the bigger one. If life can thrive at this depth in total darkness, under crushing pressure, surviving on geothermal chemistry alone, what does that tell us about the moons of Jupiter? Europa is believed to have a liquid ocean beneath its ice shell, kept warm by tidal heating from Jupiter's gravity. For years, scientists have theorized it could harbor life. The Mariana Trench just made that theory a little less theoretical. What lives in our own deep dark may be the closest mirror we have to what could live in the deep dark of another world. We have mapped less than 25% of the ocean floor. The Mariana Trench, this specific scar in the Earth, has been visited by human-controlled vehicles fewer than 20 times in history. The Moon has been mapped more comprehensively than our own ocean. Every single time we send something down into the deep, we find something we didn't expect, something that moves differently, something that shouldn't be eating what it's eating, something hovering in the dark that has no business hovering. The plastic-eating bacteria tells us life is more resilient than we deserve. The hovering sea cucumber tells us our textbooks are incomplete. The thermal plume tells us the universe's most extreme habitats may not be as hostile to life as we assumed. We think of the ocean as something we know, something we've crossed, fished, mapped, and named. But 11 kilometers below where you're sitting right now, something is hovering in the dark, doing something no animal should be able to do. And it doesn't know we exist. The ocean has been here for 4 billion years. We have been watching it for less than a century. Whatever is down there has had a very long time to become something we don't yet have words for. If you want to keep exploring the world beneath the waves, subscribe to Unknown Ocean. Every week, we go deeper. And if this video made you feel something, if it made you a little more afraid of the dark ocean or a little more in awe of it, drop a comment below. Tell me, what do you think is still down there?